Hello everyone. This video presents some notable historic events that happened on each day during the month of October. On October 1st, 331 BC, one of history's most significant battles occurred, the Battle of Gaugamela, in which Alexander the Great dealt a decisive defeat to the then largest empire the world had ever seen. At 3.08 million square miles, the Persian Empire even surpassed the Roman Empire's 2.51 million square miles. On October 1st, 1942, the United States was a bit behind Germany and Britain in the development of jet engines and jet-powered aircraft, but still managed to conduct the first ever flight of an American prototype jet fighter, the Bell P-59 Aerocomet. On October 1st, 1946, Dr. Lancelot Ware and Roland Barrell established an organization in Caythorpe, Lincolnshire, England called Mensa International. On October 1st, 1957, for the first time, the phrase "In God We Trust" appeared on American paper currency. On October 1st, 1985, the United States began celebrating National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, NBCAM, founded by the American Cancer Society and Imperial Chemical Industries, later to become AstraZeneca. On October 1st, 1993, 12-year-old Polly Hannah Klaas, January 3, 1981 to October 1, 1993, was murdered under horrifying circumstances, erroneously starting the rumor that Nirvana's Polly was inspired by the event. On October 1, 1994, the Pacific island nation of Palau entered an agreement with the United States called a Compact of Free Association with the United States, maintaining its independence while reaping some of the territorial benefits of being part of the American Empire. On October 1, 2001, Mullah Omar agreed to a proposal by the head of Pakistan's most important Islamic party to have terrorist Osama bin Laden taken to Pakistan, where he would be held under house arrest and tried by an international tribunal. On October 1, 2009, paleontologists formally announced the discovery of the relatively complete Ardipithecus ramidus fossil skeleton first unearthed in 1994. On October 1, 2014, the findings of a medical study of adults between the ages of 57 and 85, published in the online journal PLOS ONE, created a little stir on the internet when it was reported that a loss in one's sense of smell could be indicative that one has less than 5 years to live. On October 1st, 2017, while attending a country music outdoor concert by singer Jason Aldean, the crowd came under what was probably automatic rifle fire by Stephen Paddock, resulting in 58 people killed and 515 or more wounded, making this mass shooting the deadliest such shooting in U.S. history. Finally, today, on October 1st, NBCAM, an international health campaign organized by major breast cancer charities, begins. On October 2nd, 1187, one of history's most significant sieges ended, the Siege of Jerusalem, in which Saladin captured Jerusalem after 88 years of Crusader rule. On October 2nd, 1789, President George Washington sent to the states for ratification a list of amendments to the Constitution, a list we now refer to as the Bill of Rights. On October 2nd, 1869, Mahatma Gandhi, who died in 1948, Indian freedom fighter, activist, and philosopher, was born. From October 2, 1919, and for some weeks afterwards, First Lady of the United States, U.S., Edith Wilson, October 15, 1872 through December 28, 1961, the wife of President Woodrow Wilson, unofficially ran the U.S. government following her husband's, then President Woodrow Wilson's, life-changing stroke. On October 2, 1942, the Royal Navy teamed up with the Cunard White Star Line to pull off yet another of naval history's great oops moments. On October 2nd, 1959, the television anthology series The Twilight Zone made its debut on CBS television. On October 2nd, 1980, Michael Myers was expelled from Congress, the first person to suffer that indignity since the Civil War. Finally, on October 2nd, 2006, a mentally disturbed 32-year-old man went to an Amish schoolhouse in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, often described as the capital of Amish country, and proceeded to shoot 11 people, of which 6 died, including himself. On October 3rd, 1283, Dyfed ap Gruffydd, Prince of Gwynedd in Wales, became the first nobleman executed by being hanged, drawn, and quartered. On October 3rd, 1919, Adolfo Luque, born in Cuba in 1890, became the first Latin American Major League Baseball player to play in a World Series. On October 3rd, 1930, Thomas Tom S. Newman, October 10, 1851 to October 3, 1930, the former mayor of Ashland, Kentucky, died. On October 3, 1936, the director of the Downtown Athletic Club, John Heisman, died at the age of 66, spurring his fellow board members to rename their annual award to the best college football player east of the Mississippi as the Heisman Trophy. On October 3, 1952, October 2nd local date, the British became the third country to boast the possession of atomic weapons when Operation Hurricane resulted in a successful nuclear blast in the Montebello Islands of Western Australia. On October 3, 1964, the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York first served buffalo wings. On October 3rd and 4th of 1993, U.S. Army Special Forces known as Task Force Ranger fought Somali militiamen in a frantic battle memorialized in the book 1999 and movie 2001 titled Black Hawk Down. On October 3rd, 1995, in one of the most ridiculed jury findings in American history, a criminal jury found O.J. Simpson not guilty of the murder of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman. On October 3rd, 2012, a National Geographic explorer announced the discovery of a new species of dinosaur, one with vampire-like fangs. On October 3rd, 2014, Warner Brothers Pictures released Annabelle, a film about a haunted doll, to theaters. On Wednesday, October 3rd, 2018, superhero film fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland, Ohio to see Venom at 7 p.m. at Cinemark in Valley View, Ohio. Finally, live-action animated musical comedy fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland, Ohio to see Lyle Lyle Crocodile on Monday, October 3rd, 2022 at 5 p.m. at Cinemark at Valley View and XD on 6001 Canal Road in Valley View, Ohio. On October 4th, 610 AD, Heraclius arrived by ship from Africa at Constantinople, overthrew Byzantine Emperor Phocas in one of the most badass coups in history, and became emperor. On October 4th, 1997, the second largest money robbery in U.S. history took place in Charlotte, North Carolina at Loomis, Fargo and Company with $17.3 million in cash taken. On October 4th, 2010, the Ajka alumina plant in Hungary lost control of 35 million cubic feet of alumina sludge that ended up killing 9 people and polluting the Danube and Markel rivers. On October 4th, 2017, the third episode of Season 2 of American horror anthology television series Channel Zero aired on Sci-Fi. On October 4th, 2018, we were still recovering from the eye candy comic book film fest that is Venom, the latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Finally, on October 4th, 2019, Joker, the latest and perhaps greatest of the DC Comics-related movies, was released to an eager and avid public. On October 5th, 1607, the same year Jamestown, Virginia was founded, Pope Paul V, yes, the Pope of the Roman Catholic Church, sent assassins to kill Paolo Sarpi, a Venetian lawyer, historian, and statesman. On October 5th, 1789, the women of Paris marched to Versailles to confront King Louis XVI about his refusal to abolish feudalism, to demand bread, and to force the king and his court to move to Paris. On October 5th, 1793, Christian Europe was rocked by the revolutionary government of France declaring the disestablishment or de-Christianization of France, a move specifically intended to remove the influence of the Catholic Church upon France and the French people. On October 5th, 1795, the man that would be the subject of more books than any other human being in history except Jesus Christ, Napoleon Bonaparte, made his entrance on the French political stage and into prominence when he put down a rebellion against the National Convention in Paris with what he called a whiff of grape shot. On October 5th, 1930, British airship R-101 crashed in France, killing 48 of the 54 people on board the giant airship. On October 5th, 1986, the British newspaper The Sunday Times ran a story featuring information and photographs from Mordecai Vanunu, a former technician who had worked in the Israeli nuclear program, that detailed secrets about the Israeli nuclear weapons program, confirming, as suspected, that Israel did indeed possess such bombs. On October 5, 2001, Barry Bonds hit 2 home runs, giving him a total of 72 home runs in one baseball season, and breaking Mark McGwire's record of 70. On October 5th and 7th, 2017, Kent State University at Stark's History Club and English Club hosted 2 awesome events for any students and faculty interested in learning more about Dracula and other monsters throughout history and literature. On October 5th, 2018, as we do each October 5th, we celebrated World Teachers' Day, alternately referred to as International Teachers' Day, a day established in 1994 in celebration of the 1966 UNESCO ILO setting of standards and status for teachers around the world. On Monday, October 5th, 2020, we were pleased to announce your chance to be among the first horror film fans in Ohio to see Black Box or The Lie. Finally, on Tuesday, October 5th, 2021, the first 10 people to click on amazonscreenings.com/Bieber Cleveland had a chance to watch an advanced screening of Justin Bieber, Our World, at 7 p.m. On October 6, 1945, Billy Sianis and his pet billy goat were ejected from Chicago's Wrigley Field during Game 4 of the 1945 World Series, thereby allegedly cursing the Chicago Cubs for at least the next 60 years. On October 6, 1976, the former dictator, Prime Minister of Thailand, Thanom Kittikachorn, returned to Thailand after he had fled the country in 1973, which generated mass protests. On October 6, 1977, the Soviet Aircraft Design Bureau, Mikoyan Gurevich, flew their MiG-29 supersonic fighter for the first time. On October 6, 1994, the Open University of Catalonia, headquartered in Barcelona, Spain, was established as the first new and fully online university. On October 6, 2017, we awaited another weekend of NFL football while President Trump and the country waited with bated breath, waiting to see what kind of protests the NFL players would or would not participate in prior to or during the national anthem. Finally, on October 6, 2020, we were pleased to announce your chance to be among the first horror film fans in Ohio to see Evil Eye or Nocturne on Monday, October 12th, 2020. Due to the implementation of the Gregorian calendar, October 7th was skipped in Italy, Poland, Portugal, and Spain in 1582. On October 7th, 1916, in the most lopsided college football game of all time, Georgia Tech beat Cumberland College 222-0. On October 7th, 1925, baseball great and Hall of Fame pitcher Christy Mathewson died of tuberculosis, brought on by a weakening of his respiratory system due to accidental exposure to poison gas during World War I. On October 7, 1940, the director of the Far East Section of the Office of Naval Intelligence, Lieutenant Commander Arthur McCollum, sent an infamous memo up his chain of command that seems to recommend the United States provoke Japan into attacking U.S. forces, thus allowing the U.S. an excuse to enter World War II, WW2, in spite of President Franklin Roosevelt's promise to stay out of the war. On October 7, 1988, a native Alaskan hunter found 3 gray whales trapped by the sea ice near Point Barrow, Alaska, in the Beaufort Sea, initiating a chain of events that culminated in a massive international rescue effort of the giant cetaceans. Finally, on October 5th and 7th, 2017, Kent State University at Stark's History Club and English Club were hosting 2 awesome events for any students and faculty interested in learning more about Dracula and other monsters throughout history and literature. On October 8, 1480, Ivan III, Grand Prince of Moscow, stood up to the Tatars led by Akhmet Khan of the Great Horde, the successor to the Golden Horde, in an epic stand known as the Great Stand on the Ugra River, one of the high points of Russian military history. On October 8, 1806, British forces fighting the French at Boulogne employed Congreve rockets, the same type of rockets mentioned in the national anthem of the United States. On October 8, 1871, the shores of Lake Michigan were the scene of 4 major fires, including the Great Chicago Fire, perhaps the most famous fire in American history. On October 8, 1918, Second Lieutenant Ralph Talbot of Massachusetts earned the coveted Medal of Honor, the highest American military honor. On October 8, 1918, United States Corporal Alvin C. York killed 28 German soldiers and captured 132 in France's Argonne Forest during World War I, making York one of America's most decorated soldiers of the war. On October 8, 2013, a 66-year-old Denver, Colorado man and his 35-year-old female partner were accused of felonious child abuse in a sickening case of neglect and mistreatment. Finally, on October 8, 2014, the then latest iteration of American Horror Story debuted with series regular Jessica Lange portraying a character based on a real-life actress of early 20th century cinema. On October 9, 1701, the town of Saybrook, Connecticut, was the setting for the founding of the Collegiate School of Connecticut, the institution of higher learning that became Yale University, one of, if not the most esteemed colleges or universities in the United States and the world. On October 9, 1740, Dutch colonial overlords on the island of Java, now a main island in Indonesia, in the port city of Batavia, now Jakarta, capital of Indonesia, went on a mad killing spree of ethnic cleansing and murdered about 10,000 ethnic Chinese. On October 9, 1911, an accidental bomb explosion in China led to the ultimate fall of China's last imperial dynasty. On October 9, 1966, the war-torn nation of South Vietnam was the scene of not one, but two notable massacres you may never have heard of. On October 9, 1992, an unidentified flying object, UFO, crashed in a driveway in Peekskill, New York, crushing the trunk of the 1980 Chevy Malibu that was parked there. On October 9, 2006, the Hermit Kingdom of North Korea conducted its first test of a nuclear bomb, an event that has led to this rogue nation that is run by a blatantly deranged dictator to develop an arsenal of nuclear weapons. On October 9, 2012, 15-year-old Malala Yousafzai, a Pakistani Muslim girl, boarded her school bus in northwest Pakistan and was shot in the face by Taliban Islamic extremist terrorists for the crime of being a girl that wanted to go to school to learn to read and write. On October 9, 2013, American horror story Coven debuted on FX with at least 3 characters based on real-life infamous Americans. Finally, on October 9, 2018, we announced an opportunity for our readers to attend an advanced screening of Hunter Killer. On either October 10th or November 10th, 1580, after a 3-day siege, a papal army surrendered to the English in Ireland, only to be massacred. On October 10, 1851, Tom S. Newman, October 10, 1851 to October 3, 1930, who would later serve as mayor of Ashland, Kentucky, was born. On October 10, 1933, a United Airlines Boeing 247 airliner was blown out of the sky over Chesterton, Indiana, the first known instance of an airliner being deliberately taken down by a bomb. On October 10, 1967, the Outer Space Treaty, formerly known as the Treaty on Principles Governing the Activities of States in the Exploration and Use of Outer Space, including the Moon and other celestial bodies, we will stick to the short version, went into effect. On October 10, 1973, Spiro Agnew, former governor of Maryland and then current vice president of the United States, resigned his office following criminal charges. On October 10, 2010, the group of islands known as the Netherlands Antilles ceased to exist as a united country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands. On October 10, 2015, we ran an article called 9 Sensational, Sorry, Stupid, and Sordid Political Scandals, in which we told you about some of the worst such scandals in history. Finally, on October 10, 2017, we looked back on our previous October 10th articles about political scandals, 9 Sensational, Sorry, and Stupid Political Scandals, and More Political Scandals, and 10 Famous Politicians and Their Salacious, Scandalous Sex Scandals, July 18, by taking this opportunity to regale you with even more tales of politics and politicians gone wild. On October 11th, 1138, the city that would one day become the most populous city in modern Syria, Aleppo, was hit with a catastrophic earthquake. On October 11th, 1779, Polish cavalry officer and American Brigadier General Kazimierz Pulaski died of wounds incurred during the Battle of Savannah, Georgia, during the American Revolutionary War. On October 11th, 1883, the heads of the major railroads met in Chicago to adopt our standard time system, which divided the country into 4 time zones with exactly 1 hour difference in each zone. On October 11th, 1910, with aviation still in its infancy, President Theodore Teddy Roosevelt took a flight in a Wright brothers airplane piloted by Archibald Hoxsey, a former auto mechanic from Illinois. On October 11, 1932, in the heart of Depression-era Tennessee, little Dorothy Marie Marsh, better known to country music fans as Dottie West, was born. On October 11, 1972, a race riot took place not in a city, but at sea. On October 11, 1975, television audiences in the United States experienced one of those magic moments when an icon was born, as the comedy skit show Saturday Night Live, SNL, debuted with the late great George Carlin as host. On October 11, 2016, the first episode of Season 1 of American horror anthology television series Channel Zero aired on Sci-Fi. On October 11, 2017, action thriller fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland to see The Foreigner before it opened in theaters on October 13, 2017. Finally, on October 11, 2018, the United States of America stood united in celebrating National Sausage Pizza Day, one of our article's author's favorite holidays. On October 12, 1216, King John of England capped off what had to be one of the least glorious chapters in the history of Britain by losing his crown jewels. On October 12, 1492, Christopher Columbus, the Italian adventurer sailing into the unknown in the name of the Spanish crown, landed in the Bahamas, the landing that became known as the Discovery of America, or the New World if you prefer. On October 12, 1654, the Dutch city of Delft was the scene of a spectacular tragedy when a large gunpowder storehouse exploded, destroying much of the city and killing over 100 people. On October 12, 1773, Eastern State Hospital was established, the first insane asylum in what is now the United States. On October 12, 1810, the royal family of Bavaria, in what is now Germany, for the occasion of the celebration of the marriage of Crown Prince Ludwig of Bavaria to Princess Therese von Sachsen-Hildburghausen, invited all the citizens of Munich to join in the first ever Oktoberfest, a tradition that has become the largest Volksfest in the world. On October 12, 1945, Corporal Desmond T. Doss of Lynchburg, Virginia, was awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest award for valor given to only the bravest of our military heroes. On October 12, 1957, Little Richard made a dramatic gesture to prove he was quitting rock music for a more religious life when he tossed 4 diamond rings into the Hunter River in Sydney, Australia. The United Nations Population Fund designated October 12, 1999 as the approximate day on which the world's human population reached 6 billion. On October 12, 2017, the United States had only one more day to wait for the release of Jackie Chan's latest and perhaps greatest film, The Foreigner. On October 12, 2020, we had the opportunity to watch a movie composite of the web streaming series When the Streetlights Go On, a Quibi production consisting of 10 episodes, each running several minutes. Finally, on October 12, 2021, we finally got around to screening the latest film of the Saw horror movie franchise, the 9th movie of the series, Spiral, from the Book of Saw. On October 13, 54 AD, Roman Emperor Claudius was poisoned to death, possibly by his wife, via tainted mushrooms. On October 13, 1775, an order of the Continental Congress established the Continental Navy, later better known as the United States Navy, the greatest maritime fighting force the world has ever seen. On October 13, 1792, the cornerstone for the White House was laid in the capital city of the United States, known as Washington, D.C., the city of Washington within the District of Columbia. On October 13, 1929, José Plečnik, Slovenian architect, revealed his memorial to Napoleon Bonaparte on the square of the French Revolution in Ljubljana, Slovenia. On October 13, 1983, with a network in the Chicago area, Ameritech Mobile Communications, later renamed Ameritech Cellular and then AT&T Mobility, opened the first mobile phone service in the United States. On October 13, 2010, roughly 30 years after the famed Rendlesham Forest incident, thousands of eyewitnesses reported seeing shiny circular objects in the skies above New York City, validating the mass UFO sighting predicted by Stanley A. Fulham, a former NORAD officer and relatively well-known author a few months earlier. On October 13, 2013, too many 13s in that date, 115 Indians were killed and another 110 injured during the Hindu festival of Navratri at the Ratnagar Mata Temple in India when a stampede occurred on a bridge. By October 13, 2019, numerous reports had come out from across the United States over the preceding months that nearly 1,300 people had been sickened by a mysterious form of lipoid pneumonia, an illness in which oil becomes trapped in the lungs and is attacked by the body's immune system. Finally, on Wednesday, October 13, 2021, epic science fiction fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland, Ohio, to see Dune at 7 p.m. at Atlas Cinemas Eastgate 10 in Mayfield Heights, Ohio. On October 14, 1066, the Normans under William the Conqueror defeated the English at the Battle of Hastings. On October 14, 1586, Mary Queen of Scots went on trial for conspiracy against her cousin, Queen Elizabeth I of England. On October 14, 1912, a certain badass former U.S. president was shot while giving a speech, and he continued to speak. On October 14, 1938, the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk made its first flight, leading to an eventual production run of 13,738 of the rugged fighters. On October 14, 1939, German submarine U-47, captained by Gunther Prien, stealthily crept into the Royal Navy's main anchorage at Scapa Flow and sank the British battleship HMS Royal Oak, an audacious and remarkable feat of skill and daring. On October 14, 1943, the United States Army Air Force conducted one of the most catastrophic bombing raids in history, catastrophic for the bombers, that is. On October 14, 1982, President Ronald Reagan declared a war on drugs, meaning, of course, a war against illegal drugs. Finally, on October 14, 2020, we took the time to briefly review 4 of the latest movies from Blumhouse, a production company that has been pumping out films for a movie-hungry world crippled by the coronavirus pandemic. On October 15, 1815, Emperor of the French Napoleon I Bonaparte began his second and final exile on the island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. On October 15, 1863, the H.L. Hunley, a Confederate, the South, submarine sank during a test, killing its inventor and namesake Horace L. Hunley. On October 15, 1888, George Lusk, the chairman of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, received a letter purporting to be from the infamous serial murderer known as Jack the Ripper. On October 15, 1910, the non-rigid airship America set off from Atlantic City, New Jersey on the first attempt to cross the Atlantic Ocean by humans in a powered aircraft. On October 15, 1917, the famous exotic dancer and courtesan Mata Hari was executed by firing squad after having been found guilty of espionage. On October 15, 1997, Andy Green became the first supersonic driver of a car by setting the land speed record of 763 miles per hour, Mach 1.016, driving a twin-jet-powered thrust SSC, the first land vehicle to break the sound barrier, across a measured course and back in Nevada's Black Rock Desert. Finally, on October 15, 2017, people all across the world celebrated Global Hand Washing Day, a day to encourage sanitary hand-washing behavior in an effort to cut respiratory, notably pneumonia, and diarrheal diseases. On October 16, 1384, Jadwiga, a woman, was crowned King of Poland. On October 16, 1916, Margaret Sanger née Higgins, nurse, writer, and sexual educator, opened the first family planning birth control clinic in the United States. On October 16, 1968, the island country of Jamaica, a majority black African heritage nation with 92% plus African heritage population, experienced riots because a black Guyanese professor, Dr. Walter Anthony Rodney, was banned from returning to Jamaica to teach at the University of the West Indies. On October 16, 1968, 2 U.S. Olympic athletes on the medal podium raised a black-gloved fist during the playing of the American national anthem to protest the status of human rights in the U.S., particularly in regard to African Americans. On October 16, 1972, a Cessna 310 light airplane carrying Congressman Nick Begich, Democrat Alaska, and Congressman Hale Boggs, Democrat Louisiana, along with the pilot and Begich's aide, disappeared on a flight from Anchorage to Juneau. On October 16, 1991, a disturbed man, 35-year-old George Hennard, crashed his pickup truck into the front of a Luby's cafeteria in Killeen, Texas, hopped out of the pickup, and proceeded to shoot and kill 24 people, including himself, and wounding another 27. Finally, on October 16, 2019, we took a critical look back at the prior night's Democratic presidential debate among the 12 major candidates then still remaining in the race for the Democratic nomination for president. On October 17, 1091, a tornado with a strength thought to be about T8 F4, which means a severely devastating tornado with winds over 200 miles per hour, struck the heart of London, England. On October 17, 1814, a bizarre incident occurred involving the author Major Dan's favorite potable, the Noble Brewski. On October 17, 1931, mobster Al Scarface Capone was convicted of income tax evasion and later sent to Alcatraz federal prison. On October 17, 1979, an Albanian, Kosovan, Roman Catholic nun was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, certainly one of the highest honors any living person can be awarded. On October 17, 2001, Jay Livingston, American composer of famous songs for movies and television, died at the age of 86. Finally, on October 17, 2003, the pinnacle was placed upon the top of the 101-story Taipei World Financial Center, the original name, making it, at the time, the tallest building in the world at a whopping 1,667 feet tall, a full 184 feet taller than the previous record holder, the Petronas Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. On October 18, 1356,
Basel, Switzerland was destroyed by what may have been the most significant historic earthquake ever to occur north of the Alps. On October 18, 1851, the Herman Melville classic Moby Dick was first published under its original or alternate title, The Whale. On October 18, 1945, the Soviet nuclear program received American atomic bomb plutonium implosion type plans from scientist Klaus Fuchs, a German refugee from the Third Reich. On October 18, 1979, the FCC, Federal Communications Commission of the United States, first began allowing private citizens to receive satellite television signals in their own homes, making television available to people living outside of the range of broadcast television and giving the public an alternative to cable television. On October 17th or 18th, 2012, Sylvia Crystal, the first softcore adult film star, died at age 60. On October 18th, 2016, as the NFL completed Week 5 of the 2016 football season, Forbes informed us that the sit-down, kneel-down protest mania sparked by San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick was hitting the NFL where it counts, costing the venerable football league as many as a third of its valued television viewers. On October 18, 2017, in honor of the month that brings us Halloween, perhaps the greatest of all holidays, we listed our 10 favorite horror-themed television series that were airing that month, some of which may have finished their season in October, and others that were just starting. Finally, on October 18, 2021, we took the time to offer our review of another historical account by Stephen Dando Collins, an Australian writer who has written extensively on the subject of ancient Rome, at least 44 books of all types so far. October 19th marks the feast of Saint Frithuswith, also spelled Friedesweide, who passed away on that date in 727 AD, and for whom a king had died as he tried to force her into marriage. On October 19, 1864, military forces of the Confederate States of America invaded Vermont from a staging area in Quebec, Canada. On October 19, 1943, the antibiotic drug streptomycin was isolated by researchers at the esteemed Rutgers University. On October 19, 1950, the worst fears of President Truman came true when, despite General Douglas MacArthur's confident assessment that the Chinese would not cross the Yalu River and interfere with the Korean War, 200,000 Chinese soldiers streamed across the river and attacked UN South Korean forces. On October 19, 1969, the fickle winds of fate must have been blowing awful hard because the almost supernatural coincidence of cartoonist Trey Parker and self-proclaimed psychic John Edward were both born on this day. On October 19, 2011, Zanesville in Muskingum County, Ohio, became hunting grounds for lions, tigers, bears, leopards, mountain lions, and even monkeys when the owner of an exotic animal farm released his private zoo into the open and then shot himself. On October 19, 2016, the Cleveland Indians won the American League Pennant Championship and earned a ticket to the World Series against either the LA Dodgers or the Chicago Cubs starting Tuesday, October 25, 2016. On October 19, 2019, we celebrated another Saturday geared toward honoring our sweetest of our sweeties, another one of those holidays allegedly created by greeting card companies to sell greeting cards, but fun for the rest of us nonetheless. Finally, on Wednesday, October 19, 2022, superhero fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland, Ohio, to see Black Adam at 7 p.m. at Cinemark at Valley View and XD on 6001 Canal Road in Valley View, Ohio. On October 20th, 1803, Ludwig van Beethoven, one of history's greatest composers and a favorite here at History and Headlines, was hard at work on his vastly important Symphony No. 3 in E-flat major, better known as Sinfonia Eroica, Heroic Symphony. On October 20th, 1944, Army and naval forces of the United States landed on the Philippine island of Leyte in an amphibious assault to reclaim the islands from the Japanese, who had taken the Philippines from the U.S. and Philippine forces led by General Douglas MacArthur in 1942. On October 20th, 1944, during the height of World War II, the Midwestern U.S. city of Cleveland, Ohio, then the sixth biggest city in America, according to the 1940 census, was rocked by a massive explosion of liquid natural gas and a subsequent fire, causing the city to suffer 30 city blocks flattened with 130 people killed. On October 20th, 1967, Roger Patterson shot his famous footage of a Bigfoot at Bluff Creek, California. On October 20th, 1968, former First Lady of the United States and widow of President John F. Kennedy, Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, married Greek billionaire Aristotle Onassis. On October 20th, 2011, the former King of Kings of Africa's gruesome murder was recorded and posted all over the internet. On October 20th, 2016, former Redflex Traffic Systems CEO Karen L. Finley was sentenced to 14 months in federal prison for her part in attempting to bribe Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, Ohio municipal officials into contracting with her company that installs and administers red light and photo radar traffic cameras. Finally, on October 20th, 2017, Geostorm, the eye-popping new disaster film from the people, Jerry Bruckheimer, that brought us Flashdance, Top Gun, Armageddon, The Rock, Beverly Hills Cop, National Treasure, and Pirates of the Caribbean, opened across the U.S. On October 21st, 1096, a Seljuk Turk army led by Sultan Kilij Arslan I massacred a Christian army from Europe known as the People's Army, ending the first of the religious wars known as the Crusades. On October 21st, 1944, the Soviet Red Army was steamrolling the German army on the Eastern Front, reaching the town of Nemmersdorf, where heartless Soviets massacred at least 74 ethnic Germans and for good measure slaughtered another 50 French and Belgians being held by the Germans as POWs. On October 21st, 1944, Japan began their notorious kamikaze attacks during the Battle of Leyte Gulf, first striking HMAS Australia. On October 21st, 1966, at 9:15 in the morning, the little Welsh village of Aberfan was the scene of a bizarre disaster that combined natural and man-made elements that resulted in the deaths of 116 children and 28 adults. On October 21st, 1973, defensive end Fred Dreyer of the Los Angeles Rams, yes, that is where they played before St. Louis, and they were the Cleveland Rams before that, became the first player in NFL history to score 2 safeties in one game, a remarkable feat. On October 21st, 1978, the Australian pilot of a Cessna 182 small single-engine propeller airplane disappeared, but not before he radioed to Melbourne Air Traffic Control that he was being shadowed by not an aircraft. On October 21st, 1995, Spanish illustrator and author Jesus Blasco died at age 76. Finally, on October 21st, 2017 and October 22nd, Heritage Gun Shows LLC hosted a gun show at the Richland County Fairgrounds in Mansfield, Ohio.
On October 22nd, 1707, 4 ships of the Royal Navy ran aground and sank near the Isles of Scilly, near Cornwall in Great Britain. On October 22nd, 1797, Frenchman and balloonist André-Jacques Garnerin performed the first successful descent in a frameless parachute from a height of 3,000 feet. On October 22, 1926, J. Gordon Whitehead dealt a potentially deadly sucker punch to magician Harry Houdini's stomach. On October 22, 1934, U.S. FBI agents shot and killed infamous bank robber Charles Arthur Pretty Boy Floyd in East Liverpool, Ohio. On October 22, 1943, 569 bombers of the Royal Air Force dropped firebombs on the German city of Kassel, population around 240,000, killing 10,000 and making another 150,000 homeless. On October 22, 1964, French philosopher and writer Jean-Paul Sartre became the first person to voluntarily refuse a Nobel Prize, in his case the Prize for Literature. On October 22, 1983, the federal penitentiary at Marion, Illinois, was the scene of a tragedy when inmates overpowered and killed 2 corrections officers in 2 separate incidents. On October 22, 2014, and again on October 29, 2014, the FX channel television production American Horror Story Freak Show featured a two-faced character based on an alleged real-life human freak named Edward Mordrake. On Monday, October 22, 2018, action thriller film fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland, Ohio, to see Hunter Killer at 7 p.m. at AMC Westwood in Rocky River, Ohio. Finally, on October 22, 2021, we remembered the long and influential history of Imperial China. On October 23, 1739, the War of Jenkins' Ear began when British Prime Minister Robert Walpole declared war on Spain following the exhibition in Parliament of the severed ear of a British captain allegedly maimed by Spaniards. On October 23, 1812, the mad General Millet seized control of the police of Paris and attempted a coup d'etat against Napoleon's empire. On October 23, 1861, President Abraham Lincoln, defender of the Union of the United States, illegally suspended the rule of habeas corpus, the constitutional protection of Americans against being held in confinement without charges and due process. On October 23, 1911, during the Italo-Turkish War, history saw the first use of airplanes for warfare purposes when an Italian airplane flew over Turkish positions as the first aerial reconnaissance mission by an airplane in history. On October 23, 1939, the Japanese G-4M, named the Betty bomber by the Allies, made its maiden flight. On October 23, 1982, Cochise County, Arizona law enforcement sheriff deputies attempted to serve 3 arrest warrants at the Christ Miracle Healing Center and Church, the headquarters of a cult that had its origins in Mississippi. On October 23, 1983, 241 U.S. servicemen, 220 Marines of 1st Battalion, 8th Marines Regiment, 18 U.S. Navy sailors, and 3 U.S. Army soldiers were killed when a truck bomb was driven into the building where the men were quartered. On October 23, 2017, crime comedy fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland to see Suburbicon before it opened in theaters on October 27, 2017. On October 23, 2020, the comedy-loving movie world was treated to the release on Amazon Prime Video of the second Borat movie, this one given the prodigious title of Borat's subsequent movie film delivery of prodigious bribe to American regime for make benefit once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Finally, on October 23, 2020, you had a chance to win a $1,000 Amazon gift card in a Borat look-alike costume contest Friday at the Blue Sky Drive-In in Wadsworth in celebration of the opening of Borat's subsequent movie film. On October 24, 1537, in a cruel twist of fate, Queen Jane Seymour died of complications following childbirth after having just 12 days earlier provided Henry VIII with his much-longed-for son and heir. On October 24, 1871, a number of Chinese immigrants to the United States, perhaps 17 to 20, were lynched in Los Angeles, California, the victims hanged by the neck until dead by a mob of white and Hispanic Americans. On October 24, 1901, Annie Edson Taylor became the first confirmed person to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel on her 63rd birthday. On October 24, 1929, the New York Stock Exchange suffered the catastrophic day of losses known as Black Thursday, the day that for all intents and purposes started the Great Depression. On October 24, 1957, the U.S. Air Force combined the proposals of 3 companies to develop a rocket-powered space plane that was to perform multiple military roles, including bombing, reconnaissance, and research. On October 24, 1990, the Italian Prime Minister addressed the Italian Parliament about the existence of Operation Gladio, a NATO program in Italy and other countries, even some non-treaty nations, whereby a secret army would wage guerrilla war against the Soviets should they overrun any of these countries. On October 24, 2017, drama fans had their chance to be among the first in Cleveland to see Goodbye Christopher Robin before it opened in theaters on October 27, 2017. Finally, on October 24, 2018, Americans had just 2 days to wait for Hunter Killer, the latest action-adventure movie showcasing brave and capable American heroes saving the world, a submarine-based thriller featuring almost superhero-like Navy SEALs. On October 25, 1415, the Battle of Agincourt was fought between the English personally led by King Henry V and the French led by representatives of King Charles VI, resulting in a history-changing victory by the English over the greater numbers of the French. On October 25, 1854, the United Kingdom, the Ottoman Empire, and the French Empire fought against Russia in the Battle of Balaclava, which included the famous and disastrous Charge of the Light Brigade. On October 25, 1944, SS Chief Heinrich Himmler of the German Third Reich ordered a crackdown against the youth culture anti-Nazi government resistance group known as Edelweiss Piraten, or Edelweiss Pirates. On October 25, 1944, the U.S. submarine USS Tang SS-306, commanded by ace submarine skipper Richard O'Kane, was sunk when a torpedo that it had fired malfunctioned, turned around, and struck the hapless submarine. On October 25, 1957, notorious mob boss Albert Anastasia, known as Lord High Executioner and Mad Hatter for his role in ruling the mob assassination team known as Murder Incorporated, or Murder Inc., was himself gunned down, a fitting end to a violent life. Finally, on October 25, 1999, American golfing professional Payne Stewart was on a Learjet chartered to fly from Florida to Texas when the jet apparently lost pressurization, air rapidly leaked out of the plane, causing all on board, including the pilots, to pass out.
Digging deeper, we go back to October 26, 1689, when Austrian General Piccolomini burned down the Macedonian city of Skopje to prevent the spread of cholera. On October 26, 1881, Tombstone, Arizona saw the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday face off with the Clantons and the Cowboys in perhaps the most famous gunfight in U.S. history, the gunfight at the OK Corral. On October 26, 1917, a force of only 100 German Army soldiers led by Oberleutnant, First Lieutenant in American talk, Erwin Rommel, took Mount Matager from an Italian defensive force of 7,000 men, a key part of the German Austro-Hungarian victory at the Battle of Caporetto, aka the 12th Battle of the Isonzo. On October 26, 1943, what could have been a fantastic advantage in the German air war against Allied bombers in World War II first took to the air with the first flight of the Dornier DO-335 File Arrow. On October 26, 1977, Ali Maumolan, the last natural case of smallpox, developed a rash in Somalia. On October 26, 2001, President George W. Bush signed a new law into effect known familiarly as the Patriot Act, or the USA Patriot Act. Finally, on October 26, 2020, we took a quick look at the Quibi horror series of which we recently watched a pair of episodes, namely 50 States of Fright, an anthology series with the excellent premise of giving us a terrifying tale from each of our, at least currently, 50 states. Digging deeper, we first go back to when, according to Orthodox Christian tradition, on October 27, 312 AD, the night before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge against the Roman Emperor Maxentius, the Emperor Constantine the Great adopted as his motto a Greek phrase translated into English as, "In this sign thou shalt conquer," after having a vision of a Christogram in the sky. On October 27, 1553, a Spanish scientist versed in many disciplines, Michael Servetus, was burned at the stake for heresy. On October 27, 1838, Missouri's governor issued an order for all Mormons to leave the state or face extermination. On October 27, 1914, the virtually brand new British super dreadnought battleship HMS Audacious hit a mine off the north coast of Ireland and sunk without ever being used in combat. On October 27, 1954, Benjamin O. Davis Jr. became the first African-American general, brigadier or one-star, in the U.S. Air Force. On October 27, 1988, President Ronald Reagan made one of his most shocking Cold War-related announcements while president, when he decided to have the newly completed U.S. Embassy in Moscow mostly destroyed and started over again. On October 27, 2004, the Boston Red Sox ended a World Series victory drought that went back to 1918, an incredible 86 years between Major League triumphs. On October 27, 2017, tensions between the United States and North Korea put a cloud of possible nuclear conflict facing the American people. Also on October 27, 2017, the new major motion picture Goodbye Christopher Robin made its premiere at theaters across the United States, bringing humanity and realism to the beloved characters associated with Winnie the Pooh, the characters created by author A. A. Milne based on his real-life son and his son's beloved plush animals, characters in children's books that have become the most cherished of all children's stories. Additionally, and finally, on October 27, 2017, Paramount Pictures released Suburbicon, a noirish dramedy written by the Coen brothers and directed by George Clooney. Digging deeper, we first go back to on October 28, 1886, when President Grover Cleveland dedicated the Statue of Liberty, Liberty Enlightening the World, that great beacon of freedom welcoming immigrants into New York Harbor, for many the gateway to a better life in the United States. On October 28, 1919, the U.S. Congress passed the Volstead Act over President Woodrow Wilson's veto, paving the way for Prohibition to begin the following January, and setting the stage for the eventual production of HBO's Boardwalk Empire. Greece celebrates October 28th as a national holiday commemorating the entry of Greece into World War II, WW2. The Greco-Italian War of 1940 was a military conflict between Greece and Italy lasting from October 28, 1940 until April 23, 1941 that became the Axis powers' first defeat. On October 28, 1948, Swiss chemist Paul Muller was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine or Physiology for his work in 1939 demonstrating the effectiveness of DDT as an insecticide. On October 28, 1956, Elvis Aaron Presley, yes, only one A in Aaron, made medical history by being inoculated with a polio vaccine shot on national television, demonstrating to a dubious country that getting such a vaccine was safe. On October 28, 1995, the subway system that serves Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, was the scene of a terrible fire that resulted in the deaths of 289 people, making it the worst subway-related tragedy in history. Finally, on October 28, 2004, Seattle Mariners star Ichiro Suzuki, the first Major League Baseball (MLB) player to come from Japan, broke George Sisler's treasured 84-year-old record by hitting 262 balls in one season. Digging deeper, we first go back to October 29, 1390, when Paris, France got its first taste of professional witch hunting, when the first of two witchcraft trials began in the French capital. On October 29, 1877, former Confederate States of America Army General Nathan Bedford Forrest died, but despite being an early member of the infamous racist organization, the Ku Klux Klan, KKK, and serving as the first Grand Wizard of the notorious hate group, he had changed his tune, denying involvement with the Klan and denouncing the racism and violence associated with the KKK. On October 29, 1886, the first recorded use of ticker tape was noted during the parade for the dedication of the Statue of Liberty. On October 29, 1918, a disheartened and disgusted German Navy had enough of the slaughter, mismanagement, and bungling of World War I and mutinied when ordered to sail out for one last glorious mission that amounted to a suicide mission when the war was already lost. On October 29, 1955, the Soviet battleship Novorossiysk struck a mine in Sevastopol harbor and sank, taking the lives of 608 crewmen. On October 29, 1998, former fighter pilot, test pilot, pioneering astronaut, and U.S. Senator from Ohio, John Glenn, blasted off aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery, becoming the oldest person at age 77 to go into space, and he was an actively sitting U.S. Senator at the time. Since its debut on October 29, 2003, Call of Duty has become one of the best known and most played video game series of all time. On October 29, 2018, Americans celebrated National Cat Day, or at least some Americans did. Finally, on October 29, 2021, Americans still celebrate National Cat Day. Digging deeper, we first go back to October 30th, 1501, when the long history of sordid affairs involving popes and goings-on in the Vatican reached a bizarre new level when Cesare Borgia, a cardinal in the Catholic Church and son of Pope Alexander VI, hosted the Ballet of Chestnuts at his father's residence, the Papal Palace. What made this gala party so special was that it was attended by 50 prostitutes for the pleasure of the guests. On October 30th, 1806, 5,300 Prussian soldiers defending the city of Stettin surrendered to only 800 French soldiers commanded by General Lasalle, falling for the ruse that the French force was much larger. On October 30th, 1866, Fyodor Dostoevsky, one of the greatest writers in Russian literature, completed his novel The Gambler, with help from his future wife, the 20-year-old Anna Grigoryevna Snitkina. On October 30th, 1961, the Soviet Union detonated the hydrogen bomb Tsar Bomba over an archipelago in the Arctic Ocean in the north of Russia at 50 megatons of yield. It is still the largest explosive device ever detonated, nuclear or otherwise, by humankind. On October 30th, 1974, the unlikely venue of Kinshasa, Zaire is now the Democratic Republic of the Congo, was the scene of one of the most memorable fights of all time. Muhammad Ali squared off against Big George Foreman in a fight billed as the Rumble in the Jungle. On October 30th, 1995, the people of the Canadian province of Quebec voted by the narrow margin of 50.58% to 49.42% to remain a Canadian province. Finally, on October 30th, also known as Mischief Night or Devil's Night, it is usually known for various pranks practiced prior to Halloween by children, teenagers, and sometimes even adults. By statute enacted on October 31st, 1803, President Thomas Jefferson was authorized to take possession of various territories ceded by France to the United States of America in what is known as the Louisiana Purchase. On October 31st, 1864, the people of the United States got a big treat in their Halloween basket, the newly minted state of Nevada, the 36th state of the Union, appropriately known as the Silver State. The first record of dressing up in costumes on Halloween in North America goes back to 1911, when a newspaper in Kingston, Ontario, reported how the neighborhood children were guising. On October 31st, 1917, during World War I, the war that brought the mass use of machine guns, armored vehicles, airplanes, and poison gas into warfare, a singular battle stands out as an anachronism when the British-Egyptian Expeditionary Force sent infantry and cavalry units against the Yildirim army group, Ottoman Turks and Germans, defending the town of Beersheba in the Negev region of what is now Israel. On October 31st, 1941, the United States Navy destroyer USS Reuben James was sunk by a German U-boat with torpedoes, the first U.S. Navy ship sunk in the European theater of operations during World War II, and over a month before the U.S. was even in the war. On October 31st, 1944, Dr. Juris Erich Gustl, a member of the Waffen-SS, was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross to recognize extreme battlefield bravery for losing his face and eyes during the Battle of Normandy during World War II and continuing to fight while blind. On October 31st, 1968, in a political move intended to help Hubert Humphrey win the presidential election, President Lyndon Johnson made an announcement that became known as the October Surprise, in which he stated that all bombardment of North Vietnam would be halted. On October 31st, 2008, a link to a paper authored by Satoshi Nakamoto titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, was posted to a cryptography mailing list. Finally, one of the world's most widely celebrated holidays occurs today, Halloween. On October 31st, we celebrate Halloween around the world. On this day, millions of kids across the United States go out in costumes trick-or-treating for Halloween, while millions more adults attend costume parties for the spooky holiday. We wish you all a happy Halloween. As a question for my students and subscribers, which historic event that happened in October would you like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comments section below this video. To learn more about each of the events mentioned in today's video, please visit the calendar on our website. If you like this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History in Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated.